Hey yo, this is Anime Addiction 00, and holy crap, I know delays and whatnot, and there wasn't really a holiday themed event that I recorded like I tried to do with at least Halloween and Christmas, at least for 1 year or two, I believe. But it is New Year's Eve, so at the very least, unless this doesn't get uploaded by today because it's super slow. But I figure I could at least try to squeeze in one more before the official New Year, again in case it doesn't upload until the next day because it takes so dang long. But I'm gonna try another MMO attempt, haha, which I used to do all the time. More laughter, that's fake. That yeah, you got the point. But this one is Wakfu. First, let me log in right here. And it's a 2D tactical turn-based MMORPG, developed and published by, how do you say it? It's, Ankama Games. I got confused because of the nation my current character is in on this one, because they're kind of the same word almost, just a little bit jumbled up. So if you're familiar with Wakfu or heard it somewhere, it also has a whole bunch of other sales of such things going on. Like, it has its own figures, it apparently has cards, and it also has a cartoon, which I just started watching earlier in the month or so. It's not bad. I really like the animation style of this, but instead of just hearing me talk about nothing, you probably can't see my mouse because I don't want it to be in the way. I should probably show you something. Also, a new feature since it's right there. Used to only be able to have up to 5. I say only, but apparently they have so many classes that can be hard to pick sometimes. But now you can buy up to 3 more. Although it's 5,000 ogrins, which is real money, and that's about $10 a pop. So kind of expensive, but for some reason character slots usually are. And no, I don't want to do the tutorial. I'll leave that to them if they feel like doing it. I'm already losing my spot. Sorry about that. I really need to get the game going. So yes, hopefully I'll remember anything later. But character classes you can pick here. You have male avatars and female avatars. They only have one kind of male specific class, and that's the Foggernaut, but I guess I'll go through all of them in a line at least, just so you get the basic gist of it if you don't know. The Kra, how I say it, I don't know if that's how you properly pronounce it, but they're pretty much the archers. IOPs are the close combat warriors. Rogues are ones that can use machine guns and bombs and trickery type of stuff. They're a fairly new class. Well, I say fairly new, but I was in the beta for this a long time ago, and they only had the original 12 classes, I believe. So yeah, they're fairly new to me. The Ozamodas is a summoner. You can catch your own monsters and summon them. There's a Sadida, which is kind of like uses nature and also uses voodoo dolls to transfer damage and do other things. The Masquerader, I'm not sure how to describe them, but they use different masks to do different things. And they're pretty much a close combat warrior as well. And they have one long range option, depending on the mask. The Unitrough are like treasure hunters, but they also have their own decent combat abilities as well. But if you play them smartly, you can increase your prospecting, which increases drops. Sakri are kind of like berserker vital fighters, or in a way also sponge tanks. I don't know, I'm using all these terms and I'm hoping I'm getting kind of close. But they get angrier as they take damage and then they deal more damage, so they probably want a lot of health and all that. SRAM are assassins and like the backstab and summon doubles and all that. I'm only giving basic stuff because I'm not sure if I'm even going to do like a video on every class, and probably not a good idea because I don't really know that much about this anyway. The Foggernauts I mentioned, they're robots, and they harness the power of stasis. Yes, run on stasis. So they have their own kind of element, but not exactly, because it's pretty much a combination of all the elements, but that's just one way to pick it. They're pretty much a long distance mage type of thing. The Pandela, which recently got a revamp to make it, I think, in my opinion, slightly easier to get them started. They're kind of drunken close combat fighters, but they get air quotes merry off of bamboo milk. So that's their way of, I guess, drunken fighters. The Feka is kind of like a supporting shield, user. Like, they use these kinds of shields that protect or hurt other things, other enemies, or protect allies. But they also have various uses, and doesn't mean they're not offensively capable or capable of being offensive. And yeah, backwards. The Anoripsa are the healers. Actually, I should have realized that after each class, I should have went to the female version so you could see each one, but oh well. I like the Anoripsa's male wings better anyway, they're cool. But anyway, they're the healers, but they're actually one of the stronger classes in the game if you play them right with offense. At least that's what I heard. I have no idea if that was fixed or not since then. The Zelor are kind of long-distance spellcasters as well, and they focus on time and taking away action points so that the opponent can't do as much during their turn. I found them kind of hard, but anyway. The newest class is the Eliotrope. And if any of you saw the cartoon or anything about the cartoon, which is in French at the moment with subtitles if you find it, and I think there's a dub coming eventually, it's the main character that Yugo is. So it took them a while to make it into a class, but it's a pretty cool class and overpowered, probably. No, also probably get a nerf. So enjoy it while it lasts, I suppose. And the Ecoflip are a cat race that likes to gamble. They can be long range or close combat. They have lots of variety, I think, but a lot of their skills focus on luck, so it can go bad or it can go good. It's just, sometimes it kind of screws you over if it goes bad. Anyway, let's just see if we can go back and pick the one character I do have. I've probably wasted enough time rambling about nothing. So let's see what I can explain about this game. You point and click to move, which you can probably barely see. I didn't want the mouse in the way, because you might see it a whole bunch of different places, but the little white square is where you move. The farther you click, they start running, close and they walk. Let's get hotkeys going. One specific, I'm not sure specific, but one very unique aspect about this game is the ecosystem of this. And you can press W to see the Wakfu state of the terrain you're on, or the current map you're on, which is also hotkey M. And they recently added a mini-map, which actually wasn't around until recently, with Shift M, which you can see in the disappearing and appearing as I click it. Rapid click in the top right-ish corner. But I think a lot of people either miss out on this feature, or they didn't do the tutorial and don't really care and assume it's like everything else. The economy system is important because certain things of the line, I don't think they have a preference, and you'll get bonuses for fighting on the map, which can help with some very hard enemies. And also, of course, if it goes below their minimum requirement, which you see here, like there's not enough trees because there's 70 and he likes 100 to 200, you'll have less bonuses to work with, which you can see here. We can't see where I'm pointing with the mouse, but you should be able to see the little area bonus thing right there. So it does help some. But also, most things, or I think pretty much everything you see planted in the world, like trees, little herbs, and crops, they don't grow back. It's all from players that are trying to keep them there so they can continue to be harvested. And there's even a wither system you have to keep track of to make sure everything grows. And yes, it is time-consuming, but it's very unique, and I haven't played a game with such a system, even though more might exist by now, and I just haven't played them yet. Or they're just not out yet. I haven't really been that good on keeping up with all the information. Anyway, items for inventory, you can have a whole bunch of variety of equipments. You can have up to 3 normal bags and then 2 craft bags, which are specifically like herbalist boxes, which are professions you use to craft with. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm hoping I can at least do one on top of the other. I'll have my person sit down and relax for a little bit. So, yes, you're going to need the inventory space because already I'm all pretty stuffed up here. And each equipment thing gives you certain bonuses, so you should probably search for whatever works for you. Like with most equipment things, here's my money right here underneath the little treasure chest, which says account chest. Which, by the way, even though this is a free-to-play game, there are perks about subscribing and such. This is one of them, I believe. Yes, you have to subscribe if you want to do this action. In the account chest, you can transfer money and certain amount of items between your account, which would be helpful. But of course, subscribing only. I think if you play this game on Steam, it's actually attached to it or linked up to it, so you can use your Steam wallet to buy certain packages and it'll count for like a certain amount of subscription time. So you can still subscribe even if you link it up to Steam, which I just mentioned is a thing, haha. But you can still also do the default or standalone client on Wakfu's website. So let's see, I did inventory, spells, that's what you fight with. Actually, I should probably find a fight so you're not just sitting there watching them sit. I have a bad habit of doing that. I did that so much in Ranrock Online. Just sit there in a nice environment with the music and I wasn't even playing the game. Anyway, as you see all of your spells, you have up to 3. Yeah, you have 3 elemental trees to branch off from. You get to pretty much pick what you like. Some people do 1 element, some people do tri-elements, some people do 1 main and 1 alternate one. I usually can't stick to 1 element and I just have all the spells here and I use whichever I think is better for the situation, which is probably why my characters suck. But I like having the variety. So let's see. My character is still kind of weak, so just in case I might die, I'm going to press K and go to the Estrub Knight that I unlocked by doing the tutorial, which I think they made slightly less annoying. When I first started, it was one of the most annoying things to do, but they made it so you can skip a really annoying gimmicky side quest or minigame thing. And also, when you press K, and if you don't feel like doing the Estrub Knight, you can always do the free trial one that they have every week that resets after Tuesday's maintenance, I think, around that times. And now they keep all of the levels, I think. And then if you choose to buy it, whether you get lucky on the market with Kamas in the game money or real money in the shop, which is also in the upper right-ish corner. About it being pay to win, I'm not really too sure. Some things are of course very helpful, like the booster packs. You can buy a whole bunch of costumes and emoticons and titles. You can buy the sidekicks, consumables. The restats are pretty expensive and you can do it in-game, but it takes a ridiculous amount of grinding. You'll probably want to lose your mind. Also changing your allegiance or alliance, your nation, there you go. Your nation is very expensive. You can do that too with very expensive in-game money or probably real money. I guess it's not as expensive at the restat. You can buy special pets there too. Sometimes you can find more pets by drops, but I don't think you can find all of them. I'm not too sure. You get services here, which they did a class change, where if you don't want to make a new character, you can just change your class altogether. And the price depends what level. If you're 1 to 200, it's 20,000 Ogrins, which I'm not sure how much it is. If 5,000 is $10, I don't really want to imagine it. You can also have a appearance change and sex change potion thing. So yeah, there's some variety in here. I'm just not sure about pay to win. It's just a lot of stuff would be nice to have, like the bonuses and whatnot, but it's not always necessary. And you do get sidekicks at least to buy in the market if you're lucky. Anyway, I was supposed to show you fighting because the spells are there. So let's just right-click that, click fight, and then try to kill these little birds, which are called peewees. I left-click to position them in the blue area, and then I press this little sword down here, or press space when I'm ready to fight. You have movement points, which are green, which I just used to move. This one has up to 3. And then you also have action points, so you can scroll over each of your spells to see what it requires, and sometimes they take an additional point called the Wakfu point. Those don't regenerate each turn as the movement points and action points do. So they're kind of limited, and you can get them with speed bonuses after the first 3 turns and after that. But you should probably be careful because they are kind of like a limited thing. That would hurt him, so I don't want to. So I'm just going to use random skills because I don't think much. So this character is the IOP, which is the close combat type of thing. They have lots of variety for their skills, which I kind of like. They don't seem too difficult. And I'm on fire because it's just that awesome. You can also skip your turn if you don't feel like doing anything else. And also in the upper left, which I failed already, once you reach level 10, you'll be starting to get challenges for every fight, sometimes up to 2. I think it's only up to 2. And if you complete them, you'll get wisdom and prospecting bonuses. As I mentioned, prospecting is additional drop, so if you want to item hunt or grinding for a specific item, or farming, you might want to just take heed of the challenge if you can. And wisdom, the other thing it gives, is the thing that increases experience gained after the fight. And since once you start leveling at a certain level, I mean once you get to a certain level and try to level afterwards, it's very grindy. You're going to want as much wisdom bonuses as you can get. So now you can also throw away stuff by pressing permanently remove here, or you can drop it if you want other people to maybe have it while trading. Whichever you like. I mentioned nations earlier, so let's talk about that for a second. Or at least I'll ramble about it and try to do as much as possible about it. They actually have votes for a different governor to go over a nation. So I think they try to watch over the area and do what they can to protect it with their own goals. Like one governor we had when I first started playing, they're all about having fun. They did random parties at the outpost, and they also gave away random things. It's how my main got like a pirate costume. It's like my favorite one to use. They can have their own speech. They can have, it says their guild there. Oh yeah, that's because I'm a different nation. I'm not used to seeing that. They have their own laws of the nation, which you can see, which will get you more citizenship points, which things will decrease them. If you decrease your citizenship points too much, you become an outlaw, and traveling becomes very difficult. Although it's usually easily removed if a guard comes to kill you, but they might choose not to kill you, so it stays difficult for you. It kind of depends. I think that system was a little bit flawed, to be honest, because griefers can get away with so much. But that's why I always have to have seeds around, because of the eco-terrorism griefers, blah. So anyways, back to the ecosystem part. I'm just running around in circles because I'm not sure where I can go without completely zoning out. To keep track of like the monsters in the area to make sure they stay populated, if there's a requirement for that, or you just want to keep grinding, you just right click and harvest seeds from a monster if your trapper level is high enough, and you plant them. They'll succeed or fail depending on the rates you see under this little flask here. I have 88%, so it's fairly high. You can gather them from the dead corpses and also gather from them when they're alive. I can get PV feathers if I trap when they're alive, and I can get a Goo feather when they're dead. Or just more seeds. So at least the corpses aren't starting to sit there and rot. They don't really actually rot, I'm just saying. I've never seen them rot anyway. So let's see, let's look at P, the hotkey P, which is your character's information here. Max health, action points, movement points, and Wakfu points. You can also see how much damage you do with each element. I'm not sure. Oh, that's the AP removal bonus and MP removal bonus. You also have a whole bunch of other stats here, like single target damage, critical hits, dodge, initiative, block, and all that stuff. Initiative is how fast you go. Let's see if I can talk about this while in a fight. I probably can't, but it's worth a shot. It's better than watching nothing. Oh god, this is spread out. I'm gonna... Anyway, you have area effect damage bonuses, which is, not single target like this. This is single target, so it hits one thing at a time. It's probably obvious, though. You have dodge, which makes it easier to run away from an enemy that are right in front of you, so you can get away. Range is how much extra range you have, because some equipment will increase your range, I believe. And lock is what you can do to prevent an enemy from running away from you if they're in close combat. So it's like you keep them into close combat and they'll lose usually AP and MP bonuses if they try to run away. Blocking is how likely you are to reduce damage received by 30%. Berserk damage is when you have less than 50% hit points, you get extra bonuses. Long range damage, resistance, a whole bunch of stuff. And you also have your CMC damage, which is damage of creatures and mechanisms you control, the prospecting. Your heals, extra wisdom, and control to how much stuff you can summon and control at once. And after this fight, I can show you the specialization thing, or can I do it here? Actually, I should probably just finish this off. I wasn't paying attention. I probably could have done something else. Oh well, it's easy enough. This little bird. Oh, actually, something important to note about the spells, which I probably should have said a while ago. They level up as you use them, and all these spells here, those are all the spells you get in the game, and you'll unlock specializations and probably all of them at around level 10. So once you unlock all these spells, at first you just start with one of each elemental spell. Then as you use the next one, you get the next one and the last one after that, and so on. So just use whichever spells you want and they'll be stronger, and you can always reallocate the points later if you got a little bit too mixed up. I think you get a free one at around level 30, and you have a certain amount of time to decide if you want to do it or not. Anyway, back to this. This one I kept missing when I first started because it's not very obvious. But here, when you level up, you can allocate points into certain categories here. Oh, you'll know which ones you can actually do because you'll have a number next to it. But the top one, you can have hit points. You increase it by 4% increase of hit points. You can increase your resistances to all elemental damage by 10 points each. You can have regeneration to missing hit points. I have it max at 5, so I regen 10% of missing hit points at the beginning of each turn. You can increase your heals received, but it's halved if you're healing yourself. Or you can increase your lifesteal, and this is only 1%, I imagine it goes up to 10. Then you have all damages and resistance, or resistances and health points for all elements. You can increase lock, dodge, initiative, dodge and lock, multi-target lock, or berserk dodge. I probably shouldn't say everything, because it's getting a little bit long now, probably. You can increase your chance of critically hitting up to level 20, so that's probably 20% extra chance if you want to max that out. Block up to level 20, which is 1 block per level, so also 20%, or, 20% chance. Critical damage, it doesn't say the max level, so I don't know how high you can make it go. You increase your damage from behind, your berserk damage, your heals. It improves your healing spells, your resistance from behind, and your critical resistance. So your resistance to damage suffered when you get attacked by a critical hit. And then the major one first happens at 25, then at like 50 more levels later. So you don't get too many of these. So you should probably make a careful decision, but it's really good stuff. Like you can pick more action points, movement points and damage, Wakfu points, control and damage, final damages, final reduction. Yeah, a whole bunch of good stuff. And then here's where it was difficult to see, because the specialties kind of mix in too well with the things with like the background, so it was very hard for me to see it. But it's this little IOP head, whether you're an IOP or not, and you can pick whatever you want to level from these specializations here. The ones on the left all go up to level 9, and after you level them up to like say 3 or 4, they start taking more than 5 points. So you get 5 points per level, and then they'll start taking 10 points or 15 points. So they kind of take a while to level, but they don't level all the way up to 20 like these ones do. All the ones on the right tend to be up to level 20 passive bonuses, and these ones are usually active skills. And you don't have to spend your points immediately after getting them, so you can plan out what you want. There's always redistribution later. Like I said, it's a pain in the butt, at least after the free part, but it's something. So I believe I mentioned the nations again, and I forgot to keep going about it. There is PvP in this game, and it goes by nation. Sometimes you'll be allied with a nation, sometimes you'll be enemies with it. Just because you're an enemy with a nation doesn't mean they'll always automatically kill you unless you're destroying their environment and whatnot. But there is like a light political system in it, which is kind of neat, and you can vote for new governors after a certain amount of time. But you can only do that as a subscriber. You can only try to become a governor or any of their assistant type of jobs as a subscriber as well. It's not fair that they kind of take that off to like free players, but then again, I'll take it in comparing how it was earlier. I think I'm going the wrong way because before there was only like 5 areas you can go to. You couldn't use zaps, which you use for transportation. You couldn't do a whole bunch of stuff. You couldn't even do the economy thing, so you couldn't grow anything. You couldn't trap from monsters. That was really, really early into the game, though. It's not like that anymore, because you just saw me plant some birds before. So yeah, let's see what else. Professions. That's very important, because as soon as you do something for the first time, you get tutorials here. You can view them anytime. Where are they? Under the quest management, which is the book. So you can see the tutorials here anytime you want, in case you forget something. But yes, professions. I haven't learned all of them yet. Before, they had a restriction where if you were a gathering class, you couldn't craft something linked to that class. Like for an herbalist, I couldn't craft something with those herbs. You had to like hire someone to make it for you. It's still all the economy in this game is still focused on players only, but I'm glad they took that restriction off. So anyway, you have Handyman, which makes useful things like keys to go into dungeons, and random pieces of furniture and boxes, which you can use for the last 2 spots in your inventory, specifically for whatever profession you want, like farmer, fisherman, all that stuff. Oops. You have Camo Minter, which doesn't actually level. I don't know why it says level at all, unless they changed it, but I doubt it. That's where you can mine ores and turn them into camas if you don't have anything to make to sell. You have to mine a lot to get a lot of money, though, unless you have your own Haven world, which they get the luxury of making a whole bunch of camas compared to ones that don't. You also have the chef, which won't show anything because I don't know it, but that's where you make food and some useful potions, like a recall potion that teleport to a saved phoenix, which is right here. So you have food for buffs and useful stuff. The baker, which is mainly for making bread to restore your health faster. Once you get more health, that becomes handy for out of combat healing. You have a leather dealer to make shoes and bags, I think. Probably other stuff too. But that's pretty helpful. Close combat weapons, long distance weapons, area of effect weapons. You have the tailor to make, I think, belts and capes. Something like that, but it's just more equipment making. Armorer for more equipment making. And then you have the jeweler for accessory making. So yes, you level up each profession once you learn it, and then you just make stuff. Let's see if I can do an example here. I think I have enough clay to it. But actually, once I'm here, you can also have pets too. They each have certain things to eat. But just the thing to say that once you get a pet, like once you activate it and it's here, you don't have to feed it right away. I was feeding mine a lot and its hit points were going down. Once those go down, you can't get the benefits of the pet of equipping it. And I was wondering, because I was feeding it something it says it liked, and yet its hit points are going down, and I gave up when it was half health. But yeah, I found out later that it's just not hungry when you first get it. And these Drago turkeys, make sure you right click and save the location whenever you get the chance, because then you can teleport to all of them that you saved, and it makes for faster travel. At the moment, I'm looking for the handyman profession table, so I can craft keys just really quick, and there's a lot of people here. This might end up being very laggy. I should probably wrap this up soon, because I'm taking a bit long now. I'm hoping I covered most of this, and it's not too much I missed. Other than that, it's like more intricate stuff. But anyway, for example, here you see how much you can make and how much it takes. You can make the max amount or just do whatever number you want. So I'll just do 1. At the very early levels, it's very easy, but after a while, it's a little bit harder. For some reason, the hardest crafting one to level is the chef. I'm just going to warn you now. At first, it's kind of easy like everything else, but then after that, it gets very difficult. And also another thing to notice is that when you level up your profession, more and more recipes will become available to you. Like at first, I thought there was only like 8 pages of stuff, and I'm like, well, I guess that's as high as it goes, but it doesn't. It's just that it won't show you higher level recipes because you're not really close enough to level anyway. So yeah, at first I was freaking out saying, well, that's all there is. That kind of sucks. But yeah, don't freak out like me. So other than that, I made a key to a dungeon. And I don't think I have time to do a dungeon now because it's already too long. But you use the keys for these dungeons, and if you take sidekicks with you, you can take up to 2. So you can take one, for example, like one that you own, like my Astrep Knight, and you can take a free sidekick with you in case you really need the extra company and the help to level up. So you need a key per person for yourself. For example, I did say that if I had up to 3, I would need 3 keys just for me, pretty much. If I took in the 2 sidekicks, but if you had a party, they take their own keys with them. So if they had their own sidekicks that could fit into a party of maximum 6 or so, then they need their own keys. One other thing to mention is the Haven bag, which you get soon after starting with the tutorial. It's kind of like your own miniature home space. You have your own storage inventory here. You increase it by making or buying IKEA kits, which are kind of expensive and difficult to make or buy. Once you get enough money, it's very much worth it. It's not very big at the moment, but at some point I might show my main character, whose Haven bag is much bigger in comparison, and to increase it with these things called Haven gems, which the tutorial just showed in the upper left. It's a very rare drop, but they're not impossible to get. Some things are more rare of a drop than that, which is really dumb. But in any case, I'm hoping I showed you enough of the game and I explained more than enough because my throat was starting to hurt, so I think I talked way too much. I really need to get used to this or put myself on a timer or something. So yeah, I'm sorry that there wasn't any actual holiday type of video like I've been trying to do. As it is, since the new laptop, I haven't put Osu back on here, so no Christmas songs or anything. But if this video decides to upload today, I hope everyone had a good Christmas or happy holidays and will have a happy new year. Same for me too. Anyway guys, bye!